Hello and welcome. My name is Desiree Shaw and I'm a psychotherapist and I blog and I podcast. I practice at the Priory and privately. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to M.A.M.A, Men and Mental Health Awareness. This is a platform to support men and their mental health, the understanding of men's emotions and how men deal with them, and tips and how-tos and guides on how you can support yourself moving forward. Thank you so much. Welcome to Why Do Men Fear Failure? Why? Okay, so the fear of failure is a massive thing for men. For many men actually. And why? Because men need to feel competent. Men need to feel competent in order to feel comfortable and often to feel like they are a man. Because what it means to be a man is that you are able to do and fix, protect, the hunter-gatherer. At least that's what we're taught. We are taught that. And men do pick up this idea. So in order to feel competent, they got to feel in control. In order to feel in control, got to feel competent. A failure ruins all of that. So because men are the breadwinners, the providers, the protectors, and we place all this value and this focus on men, when a man is ruminating on a possible failure of some kind, it can lead him to feel less than a man, not a man, that he's failed at actually being a man. It, in a sense, reduces the way he feels about his manhood, which is a big thing for men. For women, there are other things that make us feel less than female, less than woman. And with men, it's not being in control, not being competent. The fear of failure, that you failed at being a man. These issues can be brought into many different areas of life, feeling like a failure. It can be work, it can be relationships, it can be family, it can be anything, studying, could be absolutely anything, getting a job, whatever. So let's say, I'm going to give you an example. As a man, he comes home after a trying day at work. He's having some real difficulties and things aren't going so well. So the sense of feeling like a failure is looming, is really, really heavy. It is almost like, as far as he's concerned, it's terrible. And when he gets in, his wife, his partner, female partner, wants to know how his day is. Now, men have a problem expressing their feelings, massive problem, because of how they interpret their own feelings and what's going on for them. So a woman can come home from work and talk about her day, and it can be absolutely terrible. And she can talk about how terrible her day was and cry and laugh about it, and at the end of it, feel good. So her expectation for her husband, for her boyfriend, for her man friend is when he comes home and he looks a little bit perturbed and upset about his day, that the answer is to talk about it. So she'll say, how was your day? Now, because that man had a terrible day, as far as he's concerned, the idea of talking about the day will only compound the fact that he's not competent, he's not providing properly, he's not actually protecting, he's not in control, and in fact, he's incompetent, and he's failing. So guess what? If he starts to talk about his day, he compounds the very fact that he's failing, which is why a lot of men come in and often don't want to talk about it, because there are parts of the day that they're often uncomfortable with and they don't want to face. Because if they face it, they're going to face the fact that they're failing. And that actually puts a reduction on their manhood. And I know it sounds absolutely bizarre, but it really does work like that for some men, not all. Because the idea is that men are supposed to fix problems. So if they come home and they have a problem and they start talking about it, they're compounding the fact that they've got a problem that they didn't fix, which means they're failing. Do you see where I'm going with this? Because we link our achievements to our worth, we often measure ourselves based on what we have achieved. And if we feel that we haven't achieved, we haven't done what we're supposed to have done, we feel like failures. So when a man is in that position to worry about his way of being perceived as a man, he is compromised. And that compromise goes into a downward spiral. Often it can do. of self-doubt, emotional disturbance, internalizing anger, shame. Shame is a massive thing that men don't share. When then they feel it, they will internalize it, and that might even come out as anger, because the fear is that they don't want to feel that they're failing. So the question I posed was, how do you measure your failure as a man, as a person? I put this question out there, and this is what came back.
I feel like for most men, it's being either second best or not recognized for the things that they do for people in general. That's what I've always felt. Anyway, how do you measure your own failure as a man? Whenever I fail at something, sometimes, yes, it does bother me, but I try to look past it and think, hey, you know what, I can do better next time. Just no point giving up if there's room for improvement.
Failure and measure it. There's been things that I feel that I failed in, not achieving certain goals, and I guess I feel bad because I worry about what other people may think, that I didn't do something good enough, and that will eat up inside of me and make me want to, do it properly or do it better, and it can just make me feel embarrassed and self-conscious, I guess.
I failed at previous employment and it's affected my future a great deal. I mean, granted I'm in a job that I love now, but I could have lived a much more comfortable life if I stuck with it.
Society is achievement focused, and there's nothing wrong with achieving. Achievements is great. There's nothing wrong with achieving. Achieving means you are doing the things that you want to do in order to get where you want to get to. But because we measure ourselves up against the achievement, that's the problem. When we become what we achieve and we don't separate the two, this is when we fear the failure. Now, it's a healthy practice to achieve and to compete sometimes, but it's extremely unhealthy to base your worth in what you achieve. Yeah, because if you do that, you'll determine that you are a failure based on what you've achieved. And actually, that isn't true. You're not a failure based on what you've achieved or haven't achieved. You're a whole person besides what you achieve, and the achievement is an added bonus of recognizing how much hard work you put into something. But you are worth every part of you to be on this planet, to be able to live and enjoy life as a human being without measuring yourself up against your achievements. This is how we have emotional disturbance, because when we're used to achieving and we measure ourselves by that achievement, the moment we don't achieve, we plummet. If we can't grab something which shows that we are achieving, if we can't say, hey, look at me, I have done this, look, I have this amazing car, look, I have this house, look at my job, look at me do this, look at my partner. If we can't do those things, we feel like we're not achieving, and this is the problem. And it can trigger all kinds of emotions, and the fear of losing control is often the thing that happens, because we don't feel like we're in control when we're not achieving, because we often feel in control because we achieve. So it's like this whole distortion in the mind which takes place, and it's called a cognitive distortion. And this is what CBT supports the change of, are those distortions. When you have those NATs, which are negative automatic thoughts, which are the cognitive distortions, creating a whole chain of events based on how you're thinking about yourself and how you're measuring yourself, because you're looking for results. To understand the emotions and their meaning, I have put a link into the podcast which I created based on understanding your emotional self, all the emotions. When we see that we are failing, we often think it is the end. Let me try it again. Failure is not... No. That's not how it goes. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue which counts. I think I did it right that time. Yeah, I did. So that alone lets you understand that we fail all the time. But just because you're failing doesn't mean you're a failure. See, we denote our successes to winning and our failures to the things that we weren't able to do. And when we count them, we count our failures and we start to think to ourselves, okay, by virtue I am a failure because I failed at this, or I failed my test, so I failed, I'm a failure. Just because you failed at something doesn't mean you are a failure. It's the labelling and it's the attachment and the meaning to the word failure, which is the problem. When we go around thinking this and then we can't hold our heads up and we feel embarrassed, we feel ashamed of things, we have a problem because we are not allowing ourselves to be human. As humans, we do fail sometimes. But just because we fail doesn't mean we're a failure. You're not gonna die. There's no imminent threat if you fail. Obviously, it depends on the activity that you're taking part in. On an average day-to-day lifespan, you're not hopefully doing anything too endangering, and the idea is to recognize that you're only human. Yeah, we're flawed, we are perfect but imperfectly perfect by virtue of being unique, because even if you're a twin there will be something very different about you. You're still you, and the measuring of you comparing to somebody else is just like it doesn't really make much sense, because you'll always come up short based on the fact that you can't meet somebody else's measurement of you. You're always developing on a daily basis. So when men fear failure, they fear that their manhood is being chastised. They can't deal with that. It means too much because of the attachment towards what they're doing and how they're dealing with themselves. So when you decide to achieve and you hold that material success higher than anything else, you're actually putting yourself in a position to lose and feel like a failure. Because the moment you stop achieving, that's when you decide you failed. So the takeaways from this video are, you are more than what you achieve, okay? You are. Self-acceptance is the route towards personal development, and finding that your own emotional, mental zen, so to speak, that comfort within yourself. Just because you fail at something doesn't mean you are a failure. We are only human. And we often seek the approval and acceptance of others, and we fear the rejection. When we fear failing, we fear that we're going to be rejected based on not being able to succeed. But that is a negative automatic thought that we've given ourselves, that we've picked up along the lines of other people's description and ideas of us. When you recognize that you're human, and perfectly so, you can manage yourself accordingly without the fear of failure. And you recognize that failure is actually a huge part of succeeding, actually. You know, that just came to me, because if you don't fail, you don't really know how to succeed. And you can appreciate when you do. But succeeding, you don't just succeed and stop. That's the problem, isn't it? Anyway, thank you for watching. My name is Desiree Shaw, and I'm a psychotherapist, and I vlog and I podcast. I practice privately and at the Priory. And if you look in the description box, you will see links to my website, ways on how to connect with me, and I can signpost you if you need help and I'm not available, or if you do want to see me, you can, or you want to just find a therapist. There are many ways to do so. So make sure you have a look at the description box, and make sure you like and share. You never know who you may be helping by just posting this video on your page, or tweeting it, or sending an email, or putting it on your WhatsApp, or whatever it is. Because often the silent crisis, silent but deadly suicides, people don't say when they're actually going to do it. 76% of those are men. Maybe somebody just needs to see something to recognise that they're not alone and there is a way forward. Bye for now.